Hi, my name's Robin Delany, and I wanted to talk a little bit about this month's RWR. Let's see if I can get that up there. There we go. I wanted to talk to you about some of the articles that I found interesting and some of the things that I thought about while I was reading. I wanted to talk about bridging the gap. Christine McMorris brought some agents together and asked them some questions. I thought Jennifer Schrober's lists of rights to watch would be very interesting and very beneficial, especially for any writers that don't have an agent to go to bat for them. I wanted to talk also about the Well Writers Plan and Prepare for Success by Michelle Butler. She talked about timed writing and starting small. I'm a big believer in getting something on the page. You have to have something there, or there's nothing to work with. So the idea of just writing something, say you have 10 minutes, use that 10 minutes to write. Don't say I just have 10 minutes. Because even if you write for 10 minutes a day, at the end of the year, you're going to have a whole lot more than you would have if you had just said, well, I don't have time. I only have 10 minutes, and what can I write in 10 minutes? Maybe you can write a page. Maybe you can write a sentence. Maybe you can write a chapter. You never know. There was agent. A lot of us don't have the time to write. It's hard to find, and as the mother of two little ones, I definitely understand that. It's hard enough for me some days, even just to make a YouTube video. So sometimes I get a few minutes, maybe half an hour or so after the little ones go to bed. I can use that time while the kids are in bed for writing time. And I'll sit down and say, okay, I'm going to write for a half an hour, and that's that. I'm going to do it. I will get it done. And I sit down and I'll start clacking away at the keys, and by the time I'm done, sometimes I've gone for a whole hour and I've gotten half a chapter or a chapter done, and that's a half a chapter more than I would have had I said something like, well, I've only got a half an hour. I can't get anything done in that time, and just said, I'll write tomorrow. I wouldn't have gotten anything done for that day. So it's definitely beneficial. And, you might want to even sit down and say, well, I tend to stop my writing so I can research, or I tend to stop my writing so I can edit. And just say, I'm not going to edit, I'm not going to research until I've finished. And by the time that you're close to that number, you may be so into your story that you just keep going and you don't stop. So it can be very beneficial. She also talked about remembering to take time for yourself. Now, this is something very important uh, that I think a lot of times we writers forget, which is that we get so focused on the goal, so focused on getting the chapter done or the page done or the scene done or the book done, that we forget to take time for ourselves and our family afterwards, to take time to just rest. I'd also like to talk about Seize the Day and the Hour and the Minute by Kathy Steffen. And she talks about turning waiting time into writing time. Now, I like to turn waiting time into reading time because I don't get a whole lot of time to read with my little ones. But I hadn't thought about it before, about turning waiting time into writing time. And it makes sense. I used to be a pantser, where I wrote everything by the seat of my pants and just went along, and that was that. Um, and I kind of got the value of being somewhat of a plotster now, because while I don't plot everything out entirely, I have a general outline that I follow that tells me when certain big events are going to happen, and I kind of fill in the in between as I write. So I still am exploring the story, only I'm doing it ahead of time. And so I still get the fun of being a pantser, but with the organization of a plotter. So I like that a lot. and I can turn my waiting time now into the beginning of my plotting time, because I can take the outlining process, the point where I'm thinking about the characters, where I'm thinking about what could possibly be the motivation of the hero, what could be the flaws of the heroine, how they can get together, what can keep them apart. This is something that I can do when I feel like I don't have writing time, but I really do have time. It's just hidden throughout the day while I'm doing other things. So I hope you open up your RWR and see what things you can get from the wonderful articles that were in it this month. I hope to see you here again, and hopefully you join me next month if I get it next month, and do a review of it, an overview of it. Anyhow, I keep calling it a review. But I hope you'll join me, and hopefully we can find out lots of fun stuff and talk about the craft of writing together. And if you have any comments or questions, please feel free to post them down there, and I'll get to them as soon as I can.